The first warning came as a ripple, subtle yet undeniable. Across the glittering networks of galactic intelligence, sensors registered an anomaly, a presence that defied every model, every prediction. Ships vanished from stealth grids. Communications cracked under invisible interference. Entire fleets halted mid-formation, as if some invisible hand had frozen the galaxy in place. At the heart of it was humanity, long underestimated, long dismissed as a primitive species. Their colonies, once thought vulnerable, had grown in silence, their fleets uncounted, their warriors trained beyond imagination. And now, after centuries of being pushed, provoked, and outright threatened, humans were no longer silent observers. They had declared battle. Admiral Varix of the Solari Command, one of the most experienced tacticians in the quadrant, stared at the holomap in disbelief. "This cannot be possible," she murmured, her antennae trembling. Every simulation said they would fall within a week. They were supposed to surrender. Across the galaxy, alien diplomats, strategists, and warlords began to feel the first tremors of panic. Reports poured in. Entire defensive grids rendered useless, capital ships destroyed before alarms even sounded, and infiltration units neutralized in seconds. Humans were not just attacking. They were rewriting the rules of engagement. Captain Ran of the Velix battle fleet clenched his claws around the command console. "All ships report. Status." The responses were fragmented, uncertain. Shields offline, weapon arrays disrupted, navigation systems failing. It was chaos, but not chaos caused by randomness. This was precision. This was purpose. And it came from a species they had long dismissed as insignificant. On Earth, the human command center buzzed with calculated calm. Strategists, generals, and scientists moved in seamless coordination, their every action synchronized like the gears of a masterwork clock. Admiral Cale Ardent, the leader of the human fleet, observed the holographic projection of the galaxy, his eyes unflinching. Every movement, every strike, every contingency had been calculated. Humanity was not just fighting, they were delivering a message. The line had been crossed, and the consequences would be total dot in the void between stars. Human warships emerged from hidden hyperspace corridors, striking simultaneously at multiple strategic nodes. Alien fleets scrambled to respond, only to find themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Technology, tactics, and sheer unpredictability worked in tandem. Where the galaxy expected fear, humans responded with ruthless efficiency. Where it expected hesitation, they displayed cold precision. The balance had shifted, and the galaxy would pay for every insult, every slight, every act of aggression that had underestimated humanity. Meanwhile, on distant command bridges, alien leaders whispered among themselves, growing more frantic by the second. This is impossible. How could they? Our intelligence failed us. They were never supposed to be capable of this. The words hung in the air, heavy with disbelief and terror. The opening salvo of battle had only just begun, yet already the galaxy realized a painful truth. Humans were not just defenders of their worlds. They were a force of nature, calculated, patient, and deadly. And the line the galaxy had crossed was about to be burned into memory with fire, blood, and unyielding resolve. By the time the first light of Earth's twin suns reflected off the hulls of human warships, entire systems had already fallen silent. The humans had acted, and the galaxy understood in that moment that underestimating them had been a fatal mistake. The aftermath of the first strike rippled across the galaxy like a shockwave. Entire sectors went dark as human fleets executed maneuvers no alien strategists had ever considered. Defensive stations crumbled before they could raise shields. Alien captains barked orders, but their commands collided with chaos. intercepted, redirected, and nullified by humans who seemed always one step ahead. Admiral Varick staggered back from the holoscreen. It's not just precision. It's foresight. They know where we will be before we even move. Her words barely carried over the roar of failing systems and frantic communications. The Solari fleets were caught in a spiral of miscalculations, their advanced technology no match for human adaptability. On the flagship Resolute, Admiral Cale Arden stood calm amidst a command center alive with soft beeps, blinking lights, and whispered calculations. Every movement of the fleet was predetermined, yet flexible. Humans were not bound by fear or arrogance. They were disciplined, trained in ways alien civilizations had dismissed as archaic. Yet now, that discipline translated into an unstoppable offensive. Lieutenant Mara Voss, monitoring the communication channels, glanced at Cale. Admiral, multiple enemy flagships are reporting system failures. There. Surrendering? Her voice trembled with awe and disbelief. Cale's eyes, sharp and cold, scanned the projections. They are not surrendering. They are recalculating. Every alien fleet believes they can survive. They cannot. We have exposed their vulnerabilities, and now we force them to adapt or perish. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, messages flooded in. Colonies long thought irrelevant began sending transmission signals. Humans had coordinated a network that was invisible to conventional detection methods. Entire defense grids fell not because of firepower alone, but because humans had mapped vulnerabilities, predicted responses, and moved before the first shots were even fired. The galaxy had assumed they could ignore humanity. That assumption had become a fatal error. On the Velik's command bridge, Captain Rand slammed his clawed fists against the console. All systems failing. I don't understand. Every contingency we've planned, destroyed. Around him, officers scrambled, trying to salvage strategies that no longer existed. Panic spread faster than any virus. Ships that had once been, their crew trapped in a human-engineered web of calculated attacks. Back on Earth, Cale surveyed the holomap, showing dozens of affected sectors. He did not smile. Humanity's declaration of battle was not fueled by vengeance alone. It was a statement of existence, a reminder that ignoring, exploiting, or underestimating humans carried consequences beyond comprehension. In the void of space, a single human destroyer executed a maneuver so precise it disarmed a cluster of alien dreadnoughts without firing a shot. Energy shields collapsed, navigation arrays scrambled, and alien fleets were forced into defensive formations. Every move was deliberate, controlled, and devastating. Humanity was no longer just defending itself. It was claiming the galaxy's attention, demanding acknowledgement, and teaching the ultimate lesson. Crossing the line with humans had consequences. Even those watching from distant observation satellites understood the message. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. Every system that fell, every fleet neutralized, was proof that humanity had learned, adapted, and mastered the art of war in ways the galaxy had ignored. The war had only begun, but the outcome was already being written. The galaxy had never seen a coordinated strike like this. Human ships emerging from hidden hyperlanes with precise timing that defied comprehension. Alien admirals shouted orders, their voices taut with desperation, but their commands fell flat. Their formations already disrupted by moves they could neither predict nor counter. Cale Arden observed multiple holographic projections, each representing a sector in chaos. He noted the alien fleet's weak points, the vulnerable stations, and the systems ripe for disruption. Their unity and discipline making them lethal beyond imagination. Princess Talia, who had been sent as an observer to Earth's military council, watched the unfolding battle through a secure holographic. They predicted every move. Every single one, she whispered. She had come expecting to see a conventional human defense, maybe a few clever maneuvers, but this was something entirely different. Cluster, human strike squadrons executed maneuvers that disarmed entire planetary defense networks. Alien artillery misfired. Their capital ships stalled. It was precision, foresight, and an almost uncanny understanding of their enemy's psychology. The galaxy had treated humans as simple, predictable, and inferior. That mistake was now catastrophic. Captain Ran of the Velix fleet felt the weight of helplessness pressing down on him. Every system we control, every advantage we thought we had, gone. His officers exchanged panicked glances. Their technology, their years of training, their strategies all had been rendered ineffective by humans whose resolve and discipline were unimaginable. Meanwhile, on Earth, Kale's command center remained calm, almost eerily so. While the galaxy scrambled, humans executed maneuvers with the precision of a surgeon. Every fleet, every squadron, every unit moved according to a rhythm that only Kale could see. He anticipated enemy reactions, preempted counterattacks, and ensured that no human ship was ever in danger unless necessary for tactical advantage. Humanity's strike was both devastating and surgical. The first reports of alien casualties arrived in waves, understated in tone but staggering in number. Entire fleets crippled, stations destroyed, and communication networks severed, all with minimal human losses. Analysts across the galaxy began to whisper the unthinkable. Humans were not just capable of fighting, they were capable of dominating. As night fell over Earth's orbital command stations, Kale projected a final map of the first day's operations. Multiple systems under human control, countless alien fleets incapacitated, and strategic positions secured without detection. Humanity had declared its battle, and in doing so, it had sent an undeniable message. The galaxy had crossed a line. Somewhere in the heart of the Solari command, Admiral Varric slumped into her chair, her mind racing to comprehend what she had. She muttered, voice trembling, "We underestimated them. We should never have underestimated them." And yet, Kale remained impassive. Calm, deliberate, precise. Humanity had begun the fight, and the galaxy had finally realized the cost of ignoring them. The second day of battle dawned over systems that had once believed themselves untouchable. Entire sectors, proud and heavily fortified, now lay in confusion. Human fleets moved like shadows, striking targets with exacting precision, disappearing before alien sensors could even register their presence. It was a calculated chaos, a symphony of controlled destruction that left observers stunned and terrified. Admiral Varix paced the bridge of the Solari flagship, her antennas drooping in disbelief. "It's as if they can see the future," she muttered. "Every move we make, they are already there." Around her, officers scrambled, issuing orders that were already obsolete before the words left their mouths. The human approach was not just aggressive, it was unrelenting, unstoppable, and terrifyingly intelligent. On Earth, Kale Arden studied the galactic map, noting every weak point, every potential ambush, every path an alien could take. His decisions were precise and fluid, like a master playing chess across the stars, predicting hundreds of moves ahead. Every strike was executed with minimal risk to human forces, every maneuver designed to dismantle the enemy systematically. Humanity's declaration of war was more than a battle. It was a demonstration of their mastery. In the orbit of the Therian cluster, human attack wings disabled an entire fleet's hyperdrive network without firing a single shot. Alien ships drifted helplessly, their crews panicking, unable to maneuver or retreat. Communication lines went silent. Kale had anticipated their tactics, their strengths, their arrogance, and exploited every flaw. The galaxy was beginning to realize that it had misjudged humanity on a catastrophic scale. even from distant observation points. Analysts could see the pattern. Humans acted with patience and precision, blending old-school discipline with cutting-edge technology, unpredictability with foresight. It was the perfect combination, one that no simulation, no algorithm, and no alien strategist could anticipate. Every calculated strike, every surgical maneuver, every human ship's action seemed to defy logic, yet worked flawlessly. Captain Rand gritted his claws, frustration and terror mingling as he watched yet another Velix battle group fall into disarray. "We were never ready for this," he snarled. "We thought we knew them. We didn't even know what we were up against." Around him, his officers struggled to comprehend a human species capable of anticipating moves they hadn't even imagined making. Back on Earth, Kale observed the galaxy's reactions with unflinching calm. There was no joy in victory, only the satisfaction of execution. Humanity's declaration of battle was a warning, a statement that the time for underestimation was over. Every alien fleet, every planet, every system that had once believed it could control, manipulate, or intimidate humans was now facing the consequences of centuries of dismissal and scorn down in the Solari command halls. A single thought began to spread like wildfire among leaders and strategists alike. Humans were not merely fighters. They were tacticians, warriors, and masters of adaptability beyond comprehension. They were precise, disciplined, and terrifyingly efficient. The line the galaxy had crossed was no longer a question. It had been obliterated by human resolve. Night fell, and in the silence of space, the galaxy understood a brutal truth. Humans had declared battle, and the consequences of crossing them would echo across the stars for generations to come. The war had only just begun, but the outcome was already becoming unmistakably clear. Humanity had arrived. By the third day of engagement, the galaxy's underestimation of humanity had shifted into outright panic. Entire alien coalitions scrambled to respond, but their fleets, previously confident in superior technology and numbers, now faltered under the relentless precision of human strategy. No system was safe. No command structure was beyond observation. Every move was anticipated, every weakness exploited with surgical efficiency. Admiral Varix of the Solari Command watched in disbelief as her fleet's strongest battleships were neutralized with minimal effort. How is this even possible?" she murmured, antennae trembling. Her officers were shouting orders, recalculating, and trying to regain control, but the humans seemed always one step ahead. It was as if they were reading every thought, predicting every maneuver before it occurred. On the human side, Kale Arden coordinated from Earth's Central Command with an unshakable calm. His eyes scanned the holographic galaxy map, adjusting deployments in real time. Every fleet, every strike team, every human vessel moved like a single organism, an interconnected mind operating across light years of space. The humans were not just fighting. They were demonstrating supremacy with precision, restraint, and deadly efficiency in the Thurian cluster. Human squadrons executed a flawless series of maneuvers that disarmed alien fleets without firing a single shot. Navigation systems scrambled, communication relays failed, and even automated defenses shut down as if by invisible hands. Alien captains, long confident in their superiority, found themselves powerless. The humans were rewriting the rules of engagement, making even the most sophisticated technology irrelevant. Across the galaxy, reports began to surface from systems long thought insignificant. Colonies humans had established in secrecy now provided intelligence, support, and hidden staging grounds. Humans had been underestimated because the galaxy believed only its major powers mattered. But these overlooked outposts had become strategic. Linchpins enabling precise strikes, ambush, and preemptive maneuvers that left alien leaders scrambling. "Captain," Ran of the Velik's fleet gritted his claws as he attempted to rally his ships. "We can't fight them. We don't even understand them." His officers exchanged panicked glances. Every action taken against the humans seemed to play directly into Kale's hands. Every advantage they thought they possessed had been anticipated, countered, or neutralized before it could be used. Humanity's patience, discipline, and tactical brilliance had turned the galaxy's arrogance against it. Meanwhile, Princess Talia, observing from Earth's command center, whispered under her breath, "They've mastered the art of war in ways no one could imagine. They're unstoppable." She was witnessing the humans' full capability firsthand. Not just soldiers, not just fleets, but an entire species unified in purpose, precise in execution, and disciplined beyond comprehension. Kale's calm presence belied the storm of calculated chaos he orchestrated. Every move was intentional, every deployment strategic. Humanity's declaration of battle was not just a military action. It was a statement of identity, a warning to the galaxy that the line it had crossed would never be tolerated again. Every strike, every maneuver, every victory carried a lesson. Never underestimate humans' dot as the day drew to a close. Reports of entire sectors neutralized reached Earth's command center. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for centuries. That miscalculation had just become an existential catastrophe for anyone foolish enough to ignore it. Kale Arden's fleets moved silently, efficiently, lethally, demonstrating that the humans had crossed from passive survival into active domination. And no power in the galaxy would be ready for what came next. The fourth day of battle brought the galaxy to the edge of disbelief. Entire fleets that had once boasted superiority now drifted aimlessly, their systems crippled, their commanders scrambling to comprehend what had become of the war. Humans moved through space like shadows of inevitability, appearing where they were needed, striking with precision, vanishing before retaliation could begin. Admiral Varix paced the bridge of the Solari flagship, her mind reeling. They don't make mistakes. They anticipate everything. Every strategy we've planned, rendered useless. Her officers tried to coordinate countermeasures, but every attempt collided with the invisible net of human foresight. Panic was no longer contained. It had spread like wildfire. Kale Arden watched the galactic map from Earth Command Center, his expression calm, almost serene. The humans were not reckless. They were deliberate. Every strike, every movement, every maneuver was part of a larger pattern, a carefully constructed lattice of dominance and control. They were not merely fighting. They were teaching the galaxy a lesson it had long deserved. Do not cross humanity. In the orbit of the Zarian belt, human strike wings dismantled an entire defensive array before the aliens could raise shields. No fire was wasted, no ship misplaced, no attack uncalculated. Alien captains stared at their consoles in disbelief, watching as their weapons and tactics became irrelevant in the face of human adaptability. Ships fell silent, crews immobilized by failures they could neither understand nor repair. Across multiple sectors, humans coordinated ambush, cut off supply lines, and neutralized reinforcements before they could arrive. The galaxy had assumed it controlled the humans' reach and influence, but every hidden outpost, every secret fleet, and every silent maneuver now worked in harmony with Earth's central command. The underestimation of humanity had been a catastrophic error, and the consequences were immediate. Captain Rand slammed his clawed fists against his console, fury and terror mingling. How do they anticipate every move, every contingency? We devised, Khan. It's impossible. Around him, his officers scrambled, trying to salvage plans that were already obsolete. Every advantage the galaxy thought it possessed had been neutralized by humans who did not act out of arrogance, but out of unparalleled discipline and precision. On Earth, Kale gave quiet instructions, adjusting fleets, shifting reinforcements, and sealing victory zones. His strategy was not just to win it was to demonstrate absolute control, to show the galaxy that humans were a force it could no longer ignore. Each strike had purpose, each maneuver was deliberate, and the human presence was a shadow that stretched across star systems, unseen until it was already too late. Princess Talia, observing silently, felt awe and fear intertwine. "They're beyond anything we imagined," she whispered. "They've turned the galaxy's arrogance against itself. They are unstoppable, precise, merciless." She realized that humans were not simply defending, they were rewriting the rules of engagement. The galaxy had underestimated a species whose potential had been hidden for centuries. By the time the day ended, alien fleets were scattered, communication networks fractured, and command chains in disarray. The humans had claimed the advantage, but more importantly, they had redefined the terms of the war. The message was clear. Humanity would not be bullied, underestimated, or ignored again. The galaxy had crossed a line, and Kale Arden's fleets were the reckoning. The fifth day of engagement had transformed the battlefield into a stage of relentless precision. Human fleets moved as if orchestrated by a single mind, striking where the galaxy least expected. Entire alien armadas faltered, defensive networks collapsed, and communication grids that had once coordinated thousands of ships were rendered useless within moments. Humanity had become the unyielding force the galaxy had ignored for far too long. Admiral Varix of the Solari Command watched in disbelief as yet another fleet succumbed to unseen human tactics. Every calculation destroyed. Every contingency anticipated. They are impossible. Her voice trembled, not from fear alone, but from the incomprehensible reality the humans had outmaneuvered every strategy she had ever known. Panic now replaced confidence across her bridge as her officers struggled to recalibrate what had already been rendered irrelevant. Kale Arden's gaze remained calm and steady from Earth's command center. His fingers moved across the holographic interface with precision, orchestrating strikes, deploying squadrons, and shifting reinforcements. Humans were not acting rashly. Every movement had intent. Every maneuver was designed to dismantle alien superiority without unnecessary waste. Humanity's declaration of battle was not vengeance. It was an assertion of capability, a demonstration of a species no longer to be underestimated. In the Midrix cluster, human squadrons executed simultaneous maneuvers that disabled entire enemy fleets before alarms could even sound. Alien captains shouted in disbelief as navigation arrays failed, energy shields collapsed, and weapons malfunctioned. Humans had mastered both offense and defense, predicting responses, anticipating adaptations, and exploiting weaknesses with terrifying clarity. The galaxy had ignored their potential for centuries, and now it faced the consequences. Captain Rand's claws trembled as he watched reports of his fleet's failures pile in. How can a single species manage this? We fought advanced civilizations for centuries, and none have ever moved with such foresight, such coordination. His officers could only stare, speechless, as ships under their command drifted helplessly under human precision. On Earth, Kale oversaw the deployment of orbital strike wings, planetary reinforcements, and covert maneuver units, all moving seamlessly across light years in perfect synchronization. The humans had transformed the battlefield into a system of controlled chaos, where every alien move was anticipated, neutralized, or turned to advantage. There was no panic in human ranks, only discipline, strategy, and a relentless drive to enforce the consequences of the galaxy's arrogance. Princess Talia observed silently from her station, awe and fear battling within her. "They don't just fight. They control everything," she murmured. "Every fleet, every maneuver, every system under their command. Humanity is beyond anything we imagined. Her admiration carried a bitter edge, knowing that the galaxy had misjudged a species it once dismissed as primitive. Humans were precise, deadly, and mercilessly efficient, but also disciplined enough to strike without unnecessary destruction. By nightfall, alien fleets were scattered, communications crippled, and command hierarchies in disarray. Humans had not only declared battle, they had reshaped the war itself. The galaxy had crossed a line, and Cale Arden's forces were there to enforce it, showing that humans were no longer a passive species, no longer to be dismissed, and no longer force that could be manipulated or ignored. The sixth day of conflict stretched across star systems like a tidal wave of inevitability. Alien fleets that had once held superiority now found themselves trapped in a rhythm they could not break. Human warships moved with the precision of clockwork, striking at weak points before they were ever exposed, cutting off reinforcements and neutralizing threats with surgical efficiency. The galaxy's hubris had met its match. Admiral Varix's voice trembled over the com channel. How are they everywhere at once? Every sector, every fleet, predicted and countered. There is no flaw in their strategy. Her officers scrambled, issuing orders that were obsolete the moment they were spoken. Panic had become systemic, spreading through command centers, fleet bridges, and defensive stations alike. Humanity had not simply declared war, they had rewritten the rules of engagement. Cale Arden observed the galactic map, his calm demeanor unshaken. Every fleet's movement, every tactical deployment, every strike was calculated. Humans had long studied the galaxy, long trained in secrecy, and long endured the underestimation of other species. Now, all that preparation converged in a force of unparalleled efficiency. They were not just fighting, they were asserting dominance, demonstrating that the line had been crossed, and there would be no forgiveness. In the Draxian sector, human strike wings disabled an entire orbital defense grid with precision that left alien captains speechless. Shields collapsed, weapons arrays failed, and automated defense systems turned inert. The human approach was surgical, using minimal force for maximal impact. Every alien vessel that survived did so only because it had been intentionally spared. A lesson in both restraint and overwhelming capability. Captain Rand's claws clenched around his command console as he watched his once mighty fleet falter. We can't outmaneuver them. We can't predict them. We can't survive against them. Panic had overtaken calculation, fear had replaced confidence, and chaos had consumed all organized strategy. The humans had become an unstoppable presence, not by brute force alone, but through patience, discipline, and foresight that no simulation could match on Earth. Cale's calm voice cut through the command center, issuing orders that seamlessly integrated hundreds of ships, thousands of troops, and untold resources. Human coordination was flawless. Every maneuver had a purpose, every strike an effect, and every outcome reinforced the inevitable lesson. Humanity would no longer tolerate dismissal or underestimation. Princess Talia, observing silently, felt awe and fear intertwine. They are more than warriors. They are architects of the battlefield, she whispered. They anticipate, adapt, and dominate. The galaxy has never seen anything like this. Even those who had considered humans weak, primitive, or predictable were forced to confront the terrifying truth. They were not merely fighting. They were asserting supremacy. As night fell across countless star systems, alien fleets were scattered, command hierarchies disrupted, and entire sectors rendered strategically impotent. Humans had achieved far more than tactical victories. They had rewritten the narrative of the war. The galaxy now understood with stark clarity. Humanity had crossed from defense into offense, and the consequences of having underestimated them would echo across the stars for generations to come. The seventh day of battle brought a revelation that no alien fleet could ignore. Entire systems lay in human control, not by sheer destruction alone, but through precision, anticipation, and unrelenting strategy. Humanity had not just declared war. They had demonstrated that every act of underestimation carried consequences far beyond expectation. The galaxy had crossed a line, and now the cost was being fully realized. Admiral Varick sat slumped in her command chair, antennas drooping in disbelief. We cannot stop them. Every fleet, every plan, anticipated. Every response countered before it begins. Around her, officers muttered, panic spreading like wildfire. They had fought countless wars, faced formidable enemies, and commanded powerful fleets, but nothing had prepared them for the humans. This species was no longer defenseless, no longer predictable, and certainly no longer ignorable. Cale Arden's gaze remained steady over Earth's central holographic map. He adjusted fleet positions, reinforced strategic locations, and ensured every vulnerable system was protected. The humans did not fight recklessly. Every action carried purpose. Every strike carried consequence. Humanity had grown, evolved, and mastered warfare in ways that had remained invisible until now. The galaxy had believed itself untouchable. It had been wrong. In the Midrix cluster, human strike wings disabled multiple alien dreadnoughts in simultaneous maneuvers so precise that no alien technology could compensate. Ships drifted powerless while crews scrambled in panic, their superior numbers and firepower rendered irrelevant by human foresight and efficiency. The humans had become the measure of power, the new standard of warfare. Captain Rand stared at the holoscreen, speechless. This is impossible, he whispered. He had led countless battles, faced terrifying adversaries, and commanded fleets that had once been feared across the galaxy. Yet he now faced a species whose patience, discipline, and strategic brilliance surpassed all understanding. Humanity was no longer a minor power. It was a reckoning. Even distant observers, neutral or previously dismissive of human capability, began to take notice. Communications crackled with reports of sectors seized, fleets incapacitated, and entire alliances brought to a standstill. The galaxy had assumed humans would comply, retreat, or surrender under pressure. Instead, they had struck with devastating clarity, teaching every species that the line they had crossed would not be tolerated. Princess Talia, watching from her observation station, felt awe mixed with fear. They are unstoppable. Calculated. Precise, she murmured. They fight not for glory, not for conquest alone, but for survival, for recognition, and for the right to never be ignored again. Humans had become the embodiment of discipline, strategy, and unrelenting resolve, a force the galaxy had no choice but to acknowledge. As the dust settled across the 7 days of battle, the truth was undeniable. Humans had declared war, and the galaxy had finally realized the magnitude of its miscalculation. Entire fleets lay crippled, command centers shattered, and civilizations that had believed themselves untouchable now faced the reality of human supremacy. Humanity had fought not just to survive, but to assert itself as a species never to be underestimated again. Cale Arden surveyed the galactic map one final time, his expression calm, unyielding. The humans had struck with purpose, precision, and unparalleled foresight. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would echo across generations. Humanity had crossed the line, and nothing would ever be the same.